On the Footy Report tonight, the AFL launches an investigation into racist comments against Willie Rioli as the Pies and Power issue condemnations against the abuse. Essendon's finals chances take a hit with the Bulldogs back in action. Hawthorn visits Launceston ahead of the emergency services match next month. And Bracknell fend off a challenge from Scottsdale. Good evening, I'm Daniel Pizarro. This is the Footy Report. Collingwood and Port Adelaide have slammed racist comments made online towards Power's Willie Rioli during the Pies' nail-biting clash with Port Adelaide last night. Rioli was involved in a fourth-quarter altercation with Collingwood's Nathan Murphy 6 minutes in. That sparked racist messages being sent to Rioli's Instagram, which he posted on his account. Pies CEO Craig Kelly said in a statement, "There is no room for racism in our game and we will not tolerate it, not on the field, off the field or online. All of us have a responsibility to call out this behaviour and our club is committed to playing a role in educating as many members of the wider community as possible. We stand alongside all First Nations players, staff and supporters." The AFL Integrity Unit is now investigating the comments. The situation has marred an otherwise spectacular match, with the score lead changing several times, but a goal from Jamie Elliott sealed the deal for the Pies, who edged out Port by a mere 2 points.
Has he kept it in? He's back hard against the fence railing. He's kicked goals to win games for Collingwood in this situation. Jamie Elliott, can he be the hero again? You can't believe this game. It is ridiculous what's happening.
Zone. And the siren sounds. In a heavyweight stoush.
I've lost my voice. I think I'm deaf in my left ear from all the Port Adelaide supporters screaming at me. But I'm just super proud of this group. Like, for 3 quarters we were thereabouts, but that last quarter we just showed what we're capable of, like our footy.
So many people would have sat there and didn't think that was an outstanding game of football. It was 1v2 and 1-1.
The Western Bulldogs' finals chances are shaping up after downing Essendon after 2 straight losses. The Jets have now crashed out of the top 8, with Footscray now up to 5th after a 31-point drubbing, despite the Jets leading in the first quarter. Damara Ugle-Hagan, Cody Whiteman and Marcus Bontempelli were standouts.
Ugle-Hagan, West again, no contact at all with that. McRae, Ugle-Hagan, eventually this is going to go through. It does. Tap forward to Whiteman. Head running support, doesn't need it.
You know, change some things up after quarter time. Credit to them, they wanted to keep the ball off us and just try and kick the ball around. Uncontested marks is probably off the scale. So we had to change some things. And I think when we did, we got to work inside.
End up down 30 in contested possession, down 30 in ground ball. And that was a really big factor, in a game where it's 49 inside 50s apiece. So,
checking the scores for round 19 so far, Richmond's finals chances have been brought back from the dead, with the Tigers pinching a 1-point win over a disappointed Hawthorn. Carlton had an easy 71-point victory over West Coast as the Eagles managed to continue to flounder. Brisbane managed to edge out Geelong, the Lions win by 11. Sydney headed over to Fremantle and easily downed the Dockers by 29 points. And GWS made easy work out of the Gold Coast Suns. With a highly anticipated clash between the Bulldogs and Hawthorn at UTAS Stadium in 2 weeks, the Hawks have been down here in Launceston to launch the emergency services round. Hawthorn is well known for their support for emergency services and their partnership with Tasmania. Hawks royalty jetted into Launceston, with Ruckman Max Lynch meeting up with emergency services personnel at UTAS Stadium for the launch of the emergency services round. A time where our first responders, including the fire service, ambulance and SES, will be honoured for their vital contribution in saving lives across Tasmania and the mainland.
Great opportunity to say our thanks in any small way we can. I think it's a great opportunity as well to acknowledge all the people that do amazing work, like not only in Tasmania but for the rest of the country as well.
A lap of honour for our first responders. More than around 400 first responders will be taking to the field.
Crowd numbers are expected to be huge for the round 22 clash against the Bulldogs.
invite all the community to come and join with us and the Bulldogs in celebrating the contribution, often under very dangerous and confronting circumstances, and to really acknowledge that work and the sacrifice that those people make for us.
The upcoming match is at least providing some relief for the Tasmanian government as it continues to grapple with the fallout over the proposed Hobart Stadium for the new Tasmanian AFL team. Bounce Down is on August 13th at 1:10 p.m. Daniel Pizarro, Launceston. To local footy now, and round 14 of the NTFA's Premier Senior Division saw Deloraine just pip Scottsdale by a knife edge, while Hillwood crushed Bridgenorth. Georgetown was crushed by South Launceston, with the visitors easily winning by a massive 110 points. Hillwood brushed aside Bridgenorth 15-10-100 to 5-11-41. But Scottsdale is ruining the day. They were ahead by 25 points at the end of the third quarter against Deloraine, but the Roos made a comeback and took the win by 2 points. And Longford had to fight off a challenge against Rochalee, winning by 7 points. Bracknell had the bye. In the reserves, the Bulldogs again ripped apart Georgetown. The Roos downed the Magpies in an initially close match, but Rochalee are a sorry bunch after not scoring a single point against Longford, who scored 16 goals and 13 behinds. Bracknell had the bye. As mentioned, Bracknell is having a bye for round 14, but last week the Redlegs played home against Scottsdale, with the reserves crushing their opponents, but the Magpies gave the seniors a scare, especially in the first quarter. Would round 13 prove lucky or unlucky for Bracknell? The club had a narrow loss to Longford last week in horrific conditions, with the weather a significant improvement at Bracknell. But the northern side of the ground was boggy, forcing players in the reserves and seniors to slog it out in the mud and see ball action go unpredictable.
This is the ground, it was real boggy and it was like you were swimming in it really.
The Redlegs had a slow start as the Magpies scored the only goals in the first quarter and lacked intensity, with player coach Corey Goodluck having stern words with the boys. That chat finally got Bracknell into full gear, taking the lead, with Goodluck wearing the number 13 Guernsey, himself scoring a number of goals. As Scottsdale faltered, Bracknell moved further ahead and took the win, which was all the sweeter for Nick Mitchell, who celebrated his 50th senior game.
Oh, it was good to get it done. It was tough there in the first half, but the boys pulled through and we played the way we wanted to play and got the win.
The boys come out firing in the second half and just sort of caught us off guard a little bit. A couple of quick goals. Being a bit of a theme for us this year. A bit slow to start after half time, but it's always hard to play the Bracknell out at Bracknell.
At final siren, Bracknell won by 43 points, 13-12-90 to 7-5-47. Meanwhile, the reserves also started off slow, but eventually crushed their opponents by 77 points.
It was a bit tight to start with, but we ended up pushing away and getting away from them.
And the under-18s played away against St Patrick's, the boys going down, but it was a significant improvement compared to the side's previous clash in round 6. The Redlegs' finals chances have certainly been improved, but today's match against Scottsdale shows that nothing can be taken for granted. Nevertheless, they'll take a bye next weekend, have plenty of time to rest and recover before they face Deloraine. In the other senior games for the Premier Division, ladder leaders Hillwood had a loss to South Launceston, Rochalee crushed Georgetown, and Deloraine went down on home turf to Longford. Daniel Pizarro, Bracknell. The AFL and associated clubs have over recent years taken a stand against umpire abuse from players, but it's also a two-way street. The Oatlands District Football Association has announced that the Oatlands versus Trebarna match on Saturday was abandoned during the third quarter after an umpire started abusing a player. A statement from the ODFA says the behaviour of the umpire was inappropriate. Respect must be given both ways. As the match was beyond half-time, it is considered official. The score and goal kicking will count as normal. The score stood with Trebarna 159 to Oatlands 12. So far, we have no idea if there's any penalties against the umpire. That's the Footy Report for tonight. I'm Daniel Pizarro. Thank you so much for your company, and I'll see you next time on the field. Good night.